this started. Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's just going to be a little bit of a sit down and talk type of video. We're going to be going over why I decided to compete again, why am I coaching myself, and all of these fun little things in between. I got my notes out so you know it's going to be a good one. So most things that we're going to be discussing today is why I decided to compete again, number one. I knew from my first show that I wanted to compete again. My first prep was 27 and a half, basically 28, almost 29 weeks actually, to be completely honest. And to put that much effort into something and then only do one show, I felt very off from that. I knew in my heart that I wanted to do another show, but like at the time it wasn't really possible. So with this time around, I'm doing more than one show. And a big emphasis on why I wanted to compete again is I really fell in love with bodybuilding. Went into my first prep, I was in college and I knew that I just wanted to try it and see if I liked it and see if I can do it and then kind of just go from there. And I did not expect to fall as in love with it. Like mentally didn't think I was gonna love it as much, and I became so in love with it. So that was in 2024. I took all of 2025 off. I took the full year off to just grow. Literally just grow. That was it. I knew going into my first show that I did not have enough tissue, I did not have enough muscle, and that was mostly because of how my first prep went, and we're gonna be going into that. What went wrong? Well, I had a coach at this time. What protocol was I doing that was not working? And I've spent a lot of time already this year, but a lot of 2025 researching and learning what went wrong in my first prep and why did I lose so much muscle, because in reality I was lifting for 4+ years prior to my first prep, so I should have had a good amount of muscle going into my show, but that was not the case. So we're gonna be going through all of that and what I am doing differently. I am X weeks out, and I say X because I don't know 100% how many weeks this prep is going to be. I'm not in a timeline, I'm not in a rush. My food is high and cardio is good, energy is good, and I'm not in a rush to get to stage. I'm just gonna take this as I go, especially that I'm self-coached. My labs are good, my hormones are good, we're in a really good place, but I also wanna make sure that I don't completely just fall off the side of the earth, and I really want to take my time with this and do everything right. My current stats right now, I am 5'4" and I'm weighing around 142 right now. I already lost a few pounds since the start of prep and we're only a week and a half in, so I say we're doing a good job. I did do a pre-prep phase this year. I did not have a pre-prep phase with my coach. In that as well, I was not very educated on supplements. I wasn't educated on meal timings, water intake, anything like that. And it was never something that was discussed with my coach. And this is something I very harp on with my girls. I talk to them about their supplements. I talk to them about their meal timings, their water intake. We hop on calls for an hour plus sometimes to talk about this stuff, because I know in their shoes, they don't know what to do. And I am here to help guide them into knowing what to do. And that was not the guidance that I had, so that's what I do with them. Things that went wrong in my first prep. We're just gonna dive straight into it. So we kind of really a little bit discussed supplements, but what really went wrong in my first prep? Number one, the meal plan. There's no discussion on my meal plan. What food sources I liked, anything. So when I first started this meal plan, I wasn't eating in the correct timage. I was eating too late, or I wasn't having enough time for intermittent fasting in the morning. I didn't know how much time post-fasted cardio I could eat. Bodybuilding, I had no idea what I was doing. I can admit that. I literally had no idea. So there were mistakes that I made on my end, but there were also mistakes made on my coach's end for not being clear in this. Body took a little while to just respond to protocol. And again, you have to sometimes be conservative or liberal when it comes to different, I guess, strategies towards handling a prep. And I will say at first, I don't know what kind of dieter I was. I was just following the meal plan, like I said, maybe not eating the correct timage or stuff. So it took my body like a month and a half, 2 months to really start responding to protocol. And once my body finally started responding to protocol, my carbs were gone. I dissipated. Like, carbs for me were not a thing, and that really started to impact my fatigue. I was working, I was a full-time college student, I was finishing my degree, so with that I had capstones, I was an exercise science student, so I had labs. Like, I was not in just an easy like educational degree. Like, I had classes all day, I was working a job. Between training and fasted cardio, I was very, very, very fatigued. And because of all my things for school, my training started to lack. And because I had no food, I had no energy, my lifts were just awful all the time, every single day. I was not getting good stimulus, I was not pushing hard weights or anything like that. I noticed the more my weight was dropping, the more muscle I was losing along the way. And seeing that as a competitor was really tough, because at the time I just thought this was just how my body was. Like, I actually did not have any muscle, and that's just how it was. But now, with all the learning that I've done and really focusing on female protocols for a prep, I realized that things were not done correctly in that prep, if that makes sense. I stepped on stage around 115-ish pounds, and which is kind of a typical weight for a 5'4" bikini bodybuilder, but take that 115 pounds and just make it skinny. Just make it skinny. Don't take away muscle. That's kind of what my physique came in at. So I already knew going into my show that the judges' feedback was going to be more muscle, more glutes, more tissue, bigger shoulders, kind of just everything was going to be the judges' feedback. So that's what I kind of just took away from that show. So now, what was the building process like for last year? Obviously, post-show, November of 2024, my hormones were all over the place. I didn't have a period for like 5 months. So no period for months, no muscle, no carbs. My body was not used to carbs. When carbs started to get implemented back in, I was bloated 24/7. I mean, bloated like a balloon 24/7, because my body was so used to not, I was in ketosis. My body was not used to eating carbs. So the growing process of 2025 was very, very difficult mentally, a lot in the beginning. The first 3 or 4 months of 2025, I was just bloated all the time. My body was holding in so much water. My hunger levels were all over the place. My leptin, everything was just all over the place. So once those finally started to balance out within, I would say, March to April of 2025 is when I was really able to start a growing season. And I upped my food. I started training really, really hard. I was hitting a lot of PRs every single week in the gym. And I was obviously seeing myself get a little fluffier, which was tough mentally a lot in the summertime, specifically because I'm in a bathing suit, I'm trying to go to the pool, tan, and mentally I wasn't fully there, because I'm specifically trying to push food really hard because I knew I wanted to be in prep this time that I am now. So I kind of just had to suck it up and deal with it. A 6-month growing season, I kind of just tapered my calories back down to maintenance in mid-November of 2025, and I sat around a maintenance for a few weeks in November and then a little bit in December, and that's when I hit a pre-prep phase. My pre-prep phase, I was sitting around 2,100 calories, and I was sitting there really good at like 3.5-ish weeks. And in those 3.5 weeks, I lost like 2 pounds. So I mean, hey, I'm counting that as a win. Now that I'm officially in prep, I've already seen some muscle definition coming in. I know that my tie-ins are looking good. I actually have tie-ins. Like, my glutes literally look so plump, you can tell I'm gonna have tie-ins. My shoulders, my front delt has grown so much. Like, when I'm actually doing my front pose, I can start to actually see the separation in my front delt and my collarbone, which I never had my first prep. There's just a lot of things that are very, very different. What am I doing differently this prep than my last prep? Number 1, supplements. Again, I was not very educated on my supplement intake my first prep. I was not taking a multivitamin, I wasn't taking vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K. The only vitamins I was taking, or supplements I was taking, was L-carnitine and creatine. And then at some point, I can't pronounce this, I'll put it here, but the yohimobine, I don't know how to pronounce it, was brought into my prep, my first prep, and my body did not react well to it. And turns out that I should not have been taking that supplement at the frequency I was taking it. I wasn't able to finish fasted cardio sessions. I mean, I was on the verge to throwing up and passing out when I first started taking the supplement during fasted cardio. I would drive home pale, crying, feeling like I was gonna pass out and throw up at the same time behind the wheel for 2-3 weeks straight. So I'm gonna try to implement that supplement back in, but we'll see. But supplements I'm taking now, I have a fat burner from Legion, a multivitamin from Legion, a omega-3 from Legion, and I'm also taking vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin K. I'm taking L-carnitine in the morning fasted with a fat burner from Legion. I'm also taking EAAs, and I am also taking a calcium supplement because dairy is not very wild in my meal plan. So I take a calcium supplement, I take ashwagandha at night, melatonin at night, L-theanine at night. These are things that I did not have my first prep that I have started taking, and I've already noticed a huge difference just in my recovery and overall how I feel in my day-to-day. Is my macros. I noticed that my first prep, I was plugging in my macros into my FitnessPal, and I was 18 weeks out, and 18 to 20-ish weeks out, and I was sitting at 1,500 calories. That is really low for being about 20 weeks out from the show. By the time my show came around, I was sitting at about 900 to 1,000 calories. No cap, I'm not even lying. I was doing an hour and a half a day on the Stairmaster, eating 1,000 calories, no carbs, and I was miserable. And that's just how my life was. And that's not what I'm doing this prep. My cardio, I'm starting it a little higher this prep. So I'm doing 7 days a week at 35 minutes. 5 days out of the week is fasted. 2 days out of the week is just post-lift, already fed, have food in my system, can push through 35 minutes like it's nothing. I'm gonna readjust that as time goes on, but I really wanna sit at 35 minutes for as long as I can and then bump it to 40. I do not wanna get past 45 minutes fasted. That's kind of a big goal for me in this prep because I've noticed that's when fatigue really starts to sit in heavy for me, and I'd rather be able to push more in my lifts and then maybe add some cardio post-lift, do 15-20 minutes post-lift, and only do 40 minutes fasted. That's just how I want to break it up, and through the research I've been doing, through all the podcasts I've been listening to, that seems like the best approach, especially for a natural competitor trying to preserve muscle mass and as a female. Food droppage. So I already made changes to my meal plan 1 week in. I am trying to save money as well throughout this prep. I'm not trying to drop hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars just on food every single month. And that is something I did my last prep. I was spending so much money on food. It wasn't even funny. And a big majority of that was because where I went to school was a small mountain town. There wasn't a Costco or a BJ's or a whole store anywhere. And I also had 3 roommates with a very tiny fridge. So there wasn't room in the freezer for anything. There was barely room in the fridge. I shared a shelf, so there was barely any room in the fridge for my own things. So this prep, now that I'm in an actual town, I'm in my own apartment, I'm doing a lot more bulk food, bulk chicken, beef, veggies, and my potatoes, my rice, they're all just in bulk packaging. So I know they'll last me so long versus having to go to Harris Teeter every single day and buy a new potato. It's just saving so much money. When it comes to dropping food throughout this prep, that's gonna be a little bit of a different beast. So this week on Friday, I go into my handy little notebook here, and depending on my weight droppage this week, we will reevaluate the meal plan. I kind of want to stick to the meal plan that I'm at and not drop food at all for another week or two, and kind of just let my body just do its thing, see if my weight will just naturally progress down. But I am sitting at around 2,000 calories right now, so I think I'm gonna have to drop them just a little bit, just teeny little bit, within the next week or two, which is fine. I am okay with it. Hunger is kind of non-existent right now, so again, that's okay. It's just kind of something I'm holding off on. When it comes to my meals, I have 5 meals throughout the day, and those 5 meals are kind of broken up into every 2 to 3 hours I eat them. So my breakfast, I have rice, egg whites, an egg, some spinach, and then a coffee. And then my second meal, or my pre-workout meal, because I usually train in the mornings, is cream of rice, Rice Krispies, peanut butter, dark chocolate. Yeah, I think that's it. And protein powder, yes. And I use my Legion protein powder for that meal. And then my third meal, which is my post-workout meal, is rice, chicken, green beans, and I add just some salsa on top. It's like a little taco bowl. Fourth meal, which is like my burger bowl, I guess, is potatoes, beef, some lettuce, some pickles, and some mustard. I don't do green beans in that meal because I do lettuce and it kind of just breaks it up. That's like my breakup for it, I guess. My fifth meal is 2 rice cakes with peanut butter and a glass of fat-free milk. I was doing yogurt, but oh my god, yogurt is so expensive. I swear to god, the price of yogurt has gone up $2 or $3, maybe even $4 since 2024. And I went through 1 container of yogurt in like 4.5 days. And I was like, I cannot spend $8 plus a week just on yogurt. So I switched to fat-free milk. It has the same exact macros, so we're just gonna be doing that instead. And I really like my meals. I like that I have somewhat like a little taco meal and a little bit of like a burger meal, and then 2 little sweet meals, and then eggs in the morning, which is what I really like. I find good flow with that. I have a good coffee every morning. And then when it comes to artificials, between just an energy drink, I have an energy drink on my rest days, so today's a rest day, so I'm having an energy drink, and then pre-workout during training days, and then I do 1 serving of sugar-free sauce with my 4th meal, so it's like a sugar-free Japanese barbecue sauce. It's 5 calories, and I use 1 serving of that, and then my salsa is 10 calories per serving, and I put that in my second meal, or in my third meal, and that's not really artificial, that's just salsa. Last prep, I heavily relied on water enhancers, diet sodas, all the fun things in between, 2 to 3 servings of sugar-free sauces, and that really started to hurt my gut health the more I went into prep. So I'm just trying to keep things leveled this one. Next being my split. So I am training 5 days out of the week. Again, 2 rest days throughout the week, and then I'm also going to start implementing Pilates once a week. I went to a Pilates class last week. It was like just a fundamentals class. It was nothing crazy. It was just like intro to Pilates, and I liked it. I liked moving my body in that way. It was a lot of pelvic control and like hip control, and I kind of learned that, like, yes, I have good pelvic stability and good hip stability, but there's definitely things I need to work on, and I think that will help a lot with my core strength when it comes to my posing and just overall lifting. If you know, you know, Lorelei Chapados, she started doing Pilates, I think last year or maybe late 2024, but in a bunch of her videos, she started talking about how she started doing Pilates and her routine has really changed her core strength. So I'm gonna start doing Pilates once a week on a rest day, because I find Pilates to kind of just be like a rest day activity. It's not really that challenging. Like, it's challenging, but it's not challenging at the same time. And then I have 3 leg days a week and 2 upper body days a week. 2 of the leg days a week are glute and hamstring focused, mostly glute, posterior chain, and then 1 day a week is some posterior chain, but mostly anterior chain, mostly training my quads. Not too heavy in my quads though, because I've noticed now that my legs have leaned out just a little bit in the past few weeks that my quads are sitting pretty good, so I don't want to add any muscle there, but I definitely don't want to lose any. So my quad movements are just 1 knee flexion movement, and that's usually just a hack squat or a pendulum squat, and then a knee extension movement with the leg extension. So those are the only quad movements I'm currently doing right now. Sometimes I'll implement sissy squats if the leg extension is taken and I don't want to wait forever to use it. But other than that, that is really just what I do for my quads. Glutes, I am training those 2 times a week hard, and on that other day when it's the anterior focus day, just like 1 glute movement. And it's usually just RDLs for to really work my glute max and then my hamstrings. So that's kind of what the workout, I guess, split is for my legs. When it comes to my upper body, I have 1 shoulder focus day where I really focus on my front, my side, and my rear delts. And then I also have 1 tricep movement in there, and then 1 chest movement in there, which is just a chest fly and then a tricep push down, and then a back day. And that's again refocusing on my rear delts, my upper back, my lats, my low back, all those fun things, because you know that's the bikini split. Shoulders, glutes, some back. That is the bikini split. Recovery, which I'm focusing a lot on this year. I do red light therapy, and I also do infrared sauna sessions. I do a lot of foam rolling, a lot of cupping, scraping, all those things when my muscles are just starting to feel tight. And then I also set a little fund aside for this prep to go do any type of massages if needed. I went my whole first prep with no type of recovery. I'm talking none. No massages, no saunas, no red light therapy, no nothing. And again, that really started to implement later into my prep when I was losing muscle. I was tight all the time. My posing was starting to lack. And those are things I do not want this prep. So much to go into this prep. There's so many different videos coming out over the next few months. So please, please, please stay tuned. Please stay tuned. But thank you guys so much. If you like this video or you've liked any of my other videos in the past, please subscribe to this channel. I am trying to upload a video every single week to the best of my abilities, but I'm also uploading a lot of shorts. A lot of my videos that I post on Instagram and TikTok are being posted on here as well. So I will see you guys in the next video, and yeah, thanks for watching.